in this video, I'll be taking you through the Tableau desktop layout overview. So there are a lot of questions around how to understand the interface. But let me go back to the beginning where I connected to the data source. So I've been able to add the sample EU Superstore data source to this worksheet. So if you want to see how to connect to a data source, please check my previous video. Now we have the sheet 1 by default, and I've been able to drag this other table into the canvas because that's what I'll be using. So when I click sheet 1, it takes me to the interface where we'll be discussing. So I'll be starting with the first part of it. When you look at the entire interface, you can see all these icons, the menu, the list of field names and stuff. So basically these are just the menu. So you can see this icon is familiar and it's common with most applications. So it's a save button. This is for you to add a new data source. For example, you've already connected to a data source, or you just opened a blank sheet. You want to add additional data source or the primary data source you'll be using. So you come in here and click. You can see once you hover over it, it gives you the description. This is to pause updates, which will be shown in our later video. But when you hover it, you will see all the names. So basically what you'll be using most of the time is the save button. And this is to add new worksheet. When I click this, you will see that sheet 2 has opened after clicking. This one is for duplicates. If you want to duplicate a particular sheet, if you worked on a sheet and you want to create a duplicate, you can click from here. Let's see if sheet 2, you can see sheet 2 is duplicated. Another way to duplicate a sheet is to right click on it, and you will see the options in here, and you see duplicates. You can duplicate, but our emphasis on this video is to understand the Tableau interface. All right, so let's continue. I will be deleting this one to avoid confusion. This particular icon here is to clear all the visualization in a particular sheet. For example, I've built maybe a bar chart. Let's see, profits, and I just want to clear and start all over again. You can see the cancel button, just clear, and let's go back. This back button always undo all the things you've done, takes you back to the beginning or wherever point you want it to. And you can see this option, all these are grayed out, it's just a clear sheet for now. Now I'll also take you through how to use other parts, but let's just stay on the interface. So let's go back a bit, and we see this one. This is to swap rows and columns. So for example, I have this in my row and I want to interchange. I can just come in here and just do this instead of manually moving and dragging and moving all over again. All right, so this particular one shows you text. You show the mark labels on your icon. For example, you want to know have the numbers in here. You can definitely show, because we are showing profits, you can actually put profits in the text label here, and you see it's shown, and you can maneuver everything. And this particular icon can automatically turn it on and off. You can see and off. It's like a shortcut mode. All right, so I'll go to this one. This is for title, caption, to maneuver any of these elements. I actually omitted this one. This actually shows standard view. For example, by default, we're on the standard view. If you want to show it to fit width, you want it to cover the entire width from this point to the end of this point, you want the visualization to cover that area, you can just come in here and just fit width. Okay, it's already covered. If you just want its height wise from beginning to the top and not necessarily the width, you can come in here and say cover the entire height for me, and that's where you have it. And if you want entire view is just both width and height. You want everything covered, so you can see it's the same thing. And when you get to this point, you have the presentation mode. If you want to present on the screen, if you want a full app, you have a team member you want to explain to, you can click on this and it takes you to presentation mode, and this is obviously share. So next we'll be going into other part of the sheet. All right, so going to the other part of the sheet, we've been able to discuss some of the menu over here. Show me, of course, we show you some visualization suggestion that you can plot alternatives to what you have in here. So it's just like giving you inspiration on how to use your data. So if it's grayed out, that means it's not possible. And again, as I hover over it, you can see it's telling me what is needed to build a visualization. For example, if it's a bar chart I want, I need 1 dimension or 0 to 2 measures. If you want to know the concept of measures, please check a video that I've created on that. All right, so again, if it's grayed out, it's because you do not have all the requirements needed. For example, we have just 1 dimension and 1 continuous variable data here, so which is a measure. So it says 0 or more dimensions, and I need 1 or more. For this particular one, I need 1 or more measures, so, and I need 0 or more dimensions, so, and 1 date. So always take cognizance of it, and we do not have the date factor in here. So now back to our sheet. So you can see that there's a whole lot of names in here. So this particular section you have in here is called the data pane. So the data pane shows the fields from your connected data source. It is categorized into dimensions and measures. So based on the database or this table we've connected to, we have all the fields in there connected. So the blue part shows the dimension, and the other, the one underneath, shows the measures, which are continuous variables, and these are usually category code variables. So this entire section showing the data or the fields from your data source is called the data pane. Now when we go into this area, you can see the column and the rows. So this is where you drag and drop fields to structure your visualization. So I will clear this, remember this icon, and I'm going to drag and drop as I want my visualization to create insights. You can see that it's within the row and the field dimension. Let me clear that again. I really want to use category. Where is my category now? So let's put category here. I just want to show you the concept of the rows and columns. So again, the column shelf determines the horizontal axis, while the fields in the rows shelf determine the vertical axis. So these are horizontal axis. It goes this way, okay? And this is plotted continuously because we are using a continuous value, okay? So this particular one, which is a column, determines the horizontal. So because our columns are usually on this field, let's just focus on columns in here. Let's just put the 2 there and take this away first. You can see it goes this, it's column wise. These are names of my columns. Furniture, supplies. So if I want to have my fields go this way, it must have each of the data points from this point, from this point, from this point, and goes on and on to the right hand side. So from left to right is what determines my horizontal axis, and because my column goes from left to right as well, so that is why it determines the horizontal axis. Let's put a continuous variable, which is a perfect, and you, sorry, in there. So because a continuous variable is in there, it goes in there that way. It goes that way, left and right. You can see the concept. When I decide to put a discrete, which is category, you will see why I'm always missing category. You will see why I say it goes horizontally. So it keeps labeling that direction. So let's focus on rows now. Rows determines vertical axis. Now, it is arranged horizontally, but it determines what goes on vertically. And why is it so? There is a mark here, there is a mark here, there is a mark here, and goes up, down, or top, up, down, up. So it goes up and down. and that's why it determines the vertical axis. So when I put a categorical variable in here, you can see it goes from up to top down, and that's my vertical axis. When I decide to put profits in there, which is continuous, top down, which is my vertical axis. So that's the idea. Columns determines left to right or right to left, as the case may be. And this is continuous. That's why you have that blue tick. If you want to know continuous and categorical variable, again, I've made a video. You can see. So this is just a refresher. This top down and top down. So going back to our discussion, so I've mentioned the data panes, and I've also mentioned the columns and the rows area. So now let's go to the marks card. So the marks card is this region. You can see what is in here. Let me put this here. I have a bar chart. So cool. So you can see that we have another section, which is a marks card. So this one controls how your data appears. So this is our data in here. You want to let us know how do you want it to look like. So you want to change the color. You come into the marks area. So again, this section that I'm hovering my mouse over is also called the marks. But when you have marks card, you come in here, it controls this section of the field of the visualization. I mean, the size, if you look at the size of the bar chart, when I decrease it, it becomes tiny because it's going to compress it based on the categorical location. I don't want to make it complicated. It didn't reduce it top down because it has a fixed reading, which is a measure. It can only compress in the direction of the categorical data, however, because it's not based on measurement. So it won't increase this way. So any visualization you have, just look at the categorical side of it, and that's how the size, you predict how the size is going to decrease it. So again, let's try to change on the marks card. Let's try to change the type of visualization. You can see we don't have type of visualization. All you do is come in here and you see a host of the types of the visualization you need: bar chart, line charts, area charts, square. So let's pick a square now. How do you think it's going to reduce it? It's going to compress it this way. Or let's try to interchange continuous value and bring this one in here. So if you increase the size, it's going to increase top up. That's my guess. Top up, not this way because of the reading, or or you can go this way because, but it shouldn't exceed 70. See what I mean? It's not going to leave that spot because it must always show us the correct reading, because if it goes this way, that means left, right, it's going to alter the reading in here. So basically, it's not a real, you can see, we can decide to change the size from the mark area and the labels as well. When you say labels, again, the text is a label. What you want to type in there, because of the type of bar chart, I'm interchanging it now. Let's go back to our bar chart. Bar charts. Okay, so let's reduce the size. This is too much. It's just meddling everything together. Cool. So if you want to put a label, like I said, you can turn it on here or turn it off. Label, you can try to tweak it from here, but because we do not have anything in the font right now, so the text is not highlighted. But let's see when we turn this on. Again, it's not highlighted for the bar chart. All right, so yeah, label is for the text. If you want to write something on your visualization, so it's based on what you have in your visualization. I have the tooltip. Tooltip tells you in details when you hover, you can see that information. That's what tooltip, and you can actually edit it, and details also. You can add more details to your visualization. can try to, let's see what this row ID brings into it, brings it into details. All right, so that's the mark region. So above the mark region, you have the filters. So filters help you, which is optional, but you can filter. You don't want to see all the categories now. I just want to see part of it, so I can decide to put filter in that field and decide to remove as much as I want. I just want one to show. Okay. Again, you can decide to use all. I want to use all because of this illustration. So for pages, pages is just it's for animations. After leaving the filter here, I go to pages. Okay. So pages shelf is used for animation or splitting data across pages, and it shows visualization for different segments. So let's try to put region here, and you see it in here showing. When we hover, this is going to show us the detail for each of the region. Okay. Now for northern region, is showing us this. So it's a kind of filter, but it's not a filter. So you can play it, can decide to autoplay. This is how to customize, can do loop back, and and you see it keeps going up and down. So it has created animation because I've looped it. So for different regions, for northern, southern, it keeps going on and off. Okay. All right, so you can stop, and let's move to the other part of it. So now this section, this middle section where the visualization is a view area. That's where the focus is. This is where your actual visualization is displayed based on your configuration. We've made several configurations. We've plotted them in. Again, this view area is informed by all the rest that we've discussed. But this is the view area. So next we'll be looking at how to format a worksheet, how everything correlates. But before then, I will be discussing some various concepts that we'll be using or needing for formatting.